Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. Hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your day and weekend. I got you a pretty big weather update this morning talking about what's going to happen for most of the country. There's going to be a severe weather threat, and with that severe weather threat, there's going to be a little bit of a tornado threat. But we're also going to give you a pretty big update on the tropics. There's been some changes in the near term overnight as Fiona has really maintained some intense convection. We're going to talk about that very quickly in the beginning of this video, but this could be big in the short term, especially for places like Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, as there is a outside chance, not really even an outside chance, but a pretty decent chance that this could now become a hurricane inside the next 24 hours. So that could bring much more substantial impacts to areas like Puerto Rico. But we're also going to give you an update on what Fiona could potentially do, the latest and greatest information on what Fiona could potentially do in the long term. I'm talking about Bahamas, Bermuda, and we're going to talk about what this means for the Southeast, or if it means anything at all. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Those likes go a long way in the algorithm and getting these videos out there to more people. And I really appreciate the support. It means the world. Over the last, I would say, 3 or 4 days, I've had another boost in substantial growth, trying to hit 30K by the end of the year, and we're right on track to do it. So thank y'all for subscribing. Any new subscribers are welcome to the family. It is like a family atmosphere here, and appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hit me up on Twitter. Great way to follow along when things are picking up weather-wise, when there's a big topic, whether it's severe weather, the tropics, or winter weather. It's a great way to follow along. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. I can pray over it, and not only me, but others can do so too. We all can glorify God doing it. So let's get rocking this morning. And like I said, we're going to actually break down the tropics pretty detailed for the first half of the video, and then we'll break down what's going to happen weather-wise for the rest of the country. We normally do it the other way around, but we're going to switch it up this morning because some new information going through. So we got the 5 a.m. update. Let's see if we got an 8 a.m. update. Nope, not yet. So chances are I'm going to literally upload this video, and then we're going to have a new 5 a.m. update. But as of right now, the 5 a.m. update, you got a 60-mile-per-hour storm. It's moving, let's see, at about 13 miles per hour to the west. You got hurricane watches now up for Puerto Rico. And I have a feeling this might get upgraded to a warning. But you still got the tropical storm warnings up, and I'm expecting conditions to definitely go downhill in Puerto Rico over the next several hours and throughout the rest of the weekend. But I don't know why, and it might be the next update or sometime this morning, but they should definitely have, in my opinion, and I typically don't throw flack towards the National Weather Service National Hurricane Center, but I think they should definitely have hurricane watches up for areas of at least the eastern shoreline of the Dominican Republic. So we'll watch to see if this gets some hurricane watches up here for the Dominican Republic. So, it's actually forecast to be a hurricane now sometime maybe by tomorrow evening. At least. And tomorrow, yesterday when we talked about this last night, it was saying a hurricane by maybe Tuesday evening of next week. So the timeline of this being a stronger storm has definitely sped up. So this is not good for Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico could see a lot of rain. So in fact, we look at the Puerto Rico radar right now, and you're getting those outer bands that are wrapping around into Puerto Rico and surrounding islands. And you can't really see the true structure of Fiona right now on radar, but you will here in the coming hours. So let's take a look at Fiona, close-up look. So with this, you can really see how warm, how cold the cloud tops are. So in the whites and the pinks that you see here, those are colder cloud tops, which tells us that these cloud tops are much higher in the atmosphere, which tells us there's a lot of intense convection. And this has looked like this since last night and has maintained it overnight. Now, it does look like some of this intense convection is dwindling down a little bit, but we'll see if there's another big pulse of convection. But a lot of active weather in the northern Leeward Islands, but this will move out of this area today. But it looks like this morning it was trying to find a little bit of almost like a circulation, I would say almost an eye. But of course, with a tropical storm, you're not going to get an eye. Even weaker hurricanes, Category 1, even Category 2 hurricanes, sometimes their structure isn't that good. But I can tell you, structure-wise, this looks much better this morning. I would say this is more aligned with that mid-level convection, low-level circulation, but it's still probably misaligned under the hood. Now, Here's Puerto Rico. Like I said, conditions will go downhill throughout the day. Another way to look at this is water vapor loop, much more broader look too. It's an excellent way to really look at what's going on here. Obviously, the white colors here, that's the more intense moisture at bay here. So this system, tropical systems, hurricanes, they spin like this, right? But you see these cloud tops, these high-level clouds right here, mid to high-level clouds kind of shooting off the northern end of the storm. There is some shear up here. There's a tut that's still creating some westerly shear, but it's not bothering the storm as much, and it's starting to be able to take advantage of what we call an anticyclonic flow or cyclone, which means basically up above this storm, the winds are going in the opposite direction. So the actual storm in the lower levels is going like this, but up above the atmosphere, further up in the atmosphere, way up, I'm talking about 30, 40,000 feet up, the air is actually being pushed away from the middle of the system, which is allowing more air to rise. We've been talking about this a lot, and it's allowing this storm to ventilate. We call this an outflow, and normally when you see this, it's signs of a pretty healthy storm and sometimes a strengthening storm. So it's a pretty healthy tropical storm right now. We actually look at the hurricane mission, the latest one, and I can tell you that they're still in the storm. They're still riding around in this actual storm. Here's the Leeward Islands right here. But there's not a lot under the hood right now, meaning you're seeing all this intense convection right here, but flight level winds really aren't responding to this crazy convection. Now, the hurricane mission that went through this overnight last night found some pretty intense winds with this, but right now, you see that one little yellow wind barb that's saying 45 to 50 knot flight level winds, which in general is about 55, 60 miles per hour. So that symbolizes a tropical storm still. So this might take a while before it actually gets upgraded to maybe a low-end hurricane, which is a 75 mile per hour storm, technically 74, but they never label a storm 74 miles per hour, but that's the threshold, 74 or higher. But let's back this up a little bit. I already had this in the future. And the idea, we'll go over the European and the GFS. In the short term, the idea is that we're getting into Sunday morning. This is going to probably begin to slowly slow down, and the center of low pressure is going to be just south of Puerto Rico per the latest European model. Maybe it's a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure, and there's a chance it's a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure right now. Haven't checked the latest OBS, the observations, as far as how low the pressure is, but I know the latest one from last night, I think there was a 1,000 millibar low pressure reading, but it's probably dropping, which means it's strengthening. So you got a pretty strong tropical storm, maybe a hurricane, maybe not making direct impact with Puerto Rico, but certainly bringing a lot of heavy impacts to Puerto Rico. This will continue. Latest Euro has this flirting with making impact, direct impact with somewhere in the eastern areas of the Dominican Republic. So as maybe a tropical storm, a hurricane. This will likely weaken if it does, temporarily. But then it gets to the north side of Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, and then it will start to try to increase in strength. As it's, flirting with areas of the eastern Bahamas, this will continue to slowly inch north at first because the steering currents weaken. You got a ridge out here that's very weak, that's still trying to steer this way, and then you got a ridge building in this area that's kind of got a flow moving this way. So you got competing steering currents, one moving this way and then the other moving this way. So it's kind of offsetting each other. So until this finds this weakness up here, which it will, per latest guidance in the long range, then it's going to be slow. So it's moving very slow. It's moving north. Bahamas right here, Bermuda up here. And at this point, it's a Category 3 pushing major status hurricane, which I think this has a chance to be a major hurricane, which is a Category 3 or higher. At this point, we're Thursday afternoon. It's not bothering anybody anymore, but it will potentially threaten Bermuda. So we need to watch Bermuda late next week. That's the latest European. And I will tell you, for my folks in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, the latest Euro wants this attached to kind of an upper level low, and then it slingshots it to Nova Scotia as a pretty powerful hurricane. It's just a scenario to watch. It's just one run. It's nothing to worry about. Latest GFS has this becoming very strong very quickly. In fact, the GFS sometime tonight, this evening into tonight, wants this to get sub 9, around a 980 millibar low hurricane, which is around a strong category 1, category 2 hurricane, makes direct landfall in Puerto Rico overnight into tomorrow morning, which would cause definitely some substantial damage. It'll be a very impactful scenario. Goes over Puerto Rico, doesn't even really bother the Dominican Republic. And, and maybe that's why they're saying, hey, we're not going to put any hurricane watches up, because maybe they're nodding their head to the GFS, but it's hard to nod your head to the GFS. You got to factor in both the European and the GFS. But in general, the GFS turns north much quicker. It's a powerful hurricane as early as this coming Monday and Tuesday. I mean, it's a sub 950 hurricane midway next week, and it looks like it's heading right towards Bermuda as we're getting into Thursday into Friday, and scrapes Bermuda as a powerful major hurricane, category 3-4 hurricane. But you notice, for us in the southeast, not bothering us. All out to sea. Now, we look at the latest Ensemble Run. This is through 1 week, 180 hours out, through next Saturday morning. You see, you got a little bit more members showing, basically the members that interact with Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, Haiti, that's trying to say, the European, that these members are going to interact with Hispaniola, high mountaintops, shreds the storm, and then it's able to kind of deviate and take that more northwest path towards the U.S. So that's why you got about, I would say, over 10, 12 members that now, 1 week out from today, are kind of showing a more threatening scenario. But this is out of 50 members. You still got a lot of members that, not a lot, really, I would say 10 to 15 members that have this getting very strong quickly, which makes sense per what Fiona looks like right at this moment. And then if it gets stronger very quickly, it heads on out to sea. Nothing to worry about. The only place we need to worry about is Bermuda. Now you look at the GEFS ensembles, okay? Makes up 31 members, I believe. Sometimes I get it mixed up. And most of these members head out to sea. Now you got a few stragglers that, want to head this 1 week from now into Myrtle Beach as a sub 990 millibar hurricane, but 1 out of 30-something members, it's hard to take serious. The GEFS ensembles are really gung-ho about this heading out to sea. So, what's really steering this? We just talked about this. I'll try to explain it the best way I can. Right now, it's being steered by this subtropical ridge. Right here is what we call this red area. So you got to flow along this ridge that's going like this. So this is steering this, west right now. At the same time, you got a ridge building over the middle of the country. This will act as a steering current somewhat, as of just slowing this down somewhere in the southwest Atlantic. But in general, it's being steered pretty quickly. And then this subtropical ridge gets beat down by this troughing in the North Atlantic. So it beats this down. It's not there anymore, but at the same time, it's still feeling the steering influences of this. But you got a steering current around this because, Fiona is sitting on the eastern side of this ridge of high pressure as opposed to the western side of this. The western side, you got a flow that's going to move like this. So it's pushing this northward, and then you got a flow on this side moving down this way. Just like on this ridge, you got a flow moving this way. So different flows on each side of the ridge, right? Just like a roundabout, it goes in two different directions, goes in a different direction on each side, depending on which way you think about it. I'm trying not to be confusing. Sometimes I talk too much and I make things more confusing than it really is. But anyways, at this point right here on the European, around Wednesday morning, you got competing steering currents. It's probably feeling the influence of this steering current a little bit right here, pulling it this way. And then it's still feeling the influence of this, but it's closer to this, and at the same time feels this weakness from this troughing. It's able to slip through right between both ridges of high pressure, feels this trough right here in the blue, which is the trough, and then it gets on out to sea, but the latest Euro wants to latch onto this and then slingshot it into Nova Scotia. Let's hope that doesn't happen. So, very interesting scenario. We need to pay attention to this. So, let's talk about and I'll give you another update tonight on this, so stay tuned. Let's talk about what's going to happen in the U.S. You got two areas to watch, a slight region in Iowa and in Minnesota. So there's a tornado risk, bigger one, in Minnesota today. We need to watch out just north of Minneapolis. And then watch out for a little 2% chance of 25 miles in a given location for a tornado in Des Moines, Omaha. But you definitely need to watch out that 5% chance. Damaging wind threat is there in each slight risk, and also the hail threat, a 15% risk for hail and damaging winds in those areas. You need to pay attention. Let's break it down. Each region, the southeast today, We'll watch a little spin. I think this actually has an area of interest. But anyways, we're not expecting this to really develop. I think there'll be widespread showers and storms in Florida today, but I don't think they'll be quite as widespread for areas of maybe the north central areas of the peninsula of Florida. But if you're basically in Orlando, point south, you're definitely going to see widespread showers and storms today. And then maybe later this evening, a shower and storm might drift into Savannah, Charleston, maybe even Myrtle Beach. We'll watch this a little bit later this evening. But other than that, pretty quiet day. The Northeast, very quiet day, a nice fall day expected. And then we'll go to the south central U.S. Besides some showers, moving into northern Missouri and then southern Iowa, which could see some severe weather. Pretty quiet day, but then watch a little bit later this evening. Some storms erupt. We'll look at the 06Z. Some storms erupt in this area, and these could be quite intense for southern Iowa. We're just going to get a better look up here, and let's switch this to the 06Z so we can take a little bit further out in the longer range. And here it goes. This morning, not a whole lot to worry about. Some showers, storms. It's probably a little bit of a question on this morning convection in Iowa and northern Missouri on how intense the storms get. How much can the atmosphere recover? But the latest HRRR model has a recovering air mass. These storms up here in the northern half of Minnesota, guys, watch out. They can have a tornado threat with them. You're going to have some showers and storms also in the UP of Michigan today. It's almost going to be kind of a summer-type kind of day today. And then, like I said, a little bit of a tornado threat down here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and Omaha, and Des Moines. Watch out. There's going to be two areas to watch. This area and this area. A little bit of a higher tornado threat with this. But that's going to be the highest action today as far as severe weather. So just be mindful of the severe weather today. Temperatures, humid air rises, intense heating from Kansas point south all the way into Texas, Oklahoma included, all the way into the 90s. I saw a 7-day forecast for Dallas, and it just looked awful. Mid to upper 90s, lows only in the mid 70s, and that is just awful for September standards. I really feel bad for you guys. You guys have just been ugly heat this summer. But hopefully we got a big fall cold front coming. I'm seeing some signs of that in the longer range. We'll talk a little bit about that probably in the coming days. We'll talk about that probably a little bit Sunday evening. We'll break down potential big cold front towards the in about another week or so. But typical kind of late summer conditions in the southeast. Still nice air mass with dry air hanging around for the Ohio Valley, and certainly for the Northeast, where it'll be more just so like a fall day. Southeast, still a nice day, a nice college football type day. It really will be. The dry air is still hanging around just due to that upper trough that moved through earlier this week. So a pretty nice day for everybody. Temperature-wise, it's set very hot in the south central U.S. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a blessed Saturday, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.